And if people in the party don't start to speak up against people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is young and dynamic, but does not know what she's talking about.
At the end of last year and the beginning of this year, there was a huge debate around Amazon headquarters too. So Amazon was supposed to develop a headquarters in New York and create all these jobs, but in the process also receive $3.4 billion in tax incentives. The idea that a company needs $3.4 billion in tax incentives to move to New York City is a little ridiculous. So that was the argument that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, and others were making for why Amazon should not have a headquarters in New York. Well, it appears AOC and activists have been proven correct. So even without the headquarters, Amazon and other tech companies are all of a sudden hiring more people. So this from the Wall Street Journal. Who needs Amazon headquarters too? Not New York real estate's tech boom. Facebook, Google, Uber, and Amazon embrace Manhattan as an East Coast hub. The city's tech frenzy comes barely 4 months after Amazon stunned developers and others in the business community by canceling plans for a second headquarters project in Long Island City, Queens. Some elected officials had criticized a government incentive package of as much as $3 billion to lure the retail giant. Amazon's abrupt reversal sent shockwaves through the New York real estate community, with some suggesting that the company's decision to bolt could discourage other major tech companies from considering the city. Instead, interest among social media, e-commerce, and ride-hailing companies has been intensifying. Many of these companies are willing to spend big dollars renting high-end Manhattan real estate rather than the older office stock in Queens that Amazon was prepared to lease. So, these tech companies, including Amazon, are adding jobs in New York anyways. And by the way, these are jobs for existing New Yorkers. So again, one of the arguments against the Amazon headquarters was that they'd be shipping a lot of jobs in from out of state. So a lot of the jobs that were going to be created were going to be people that were not currently living in New York. So they weren't necessarily jobs for people in New York City. These are jobs for people that are living in New York. And on top of that, no giveaways, no taxpayer-funded giveaways, and no impact on the cost of living or housing. Which, on that note, how is Virginia doing? Virginia, with their Amazon headquarters there, how are they doing? Amazon HQ2 is upending Northern Virginia's already unstable housing market. Speculators have begun asking homeowners to sell. Potential home buyers, typically younger, are holding off buying to save more money for down payments. Low-income renters are worried about rising rents and about how they will afford basic necessities. And Amazon has not even fully arrived yet. The company plans to hire 400 employees for their headquarters by the end of the year and 1,000 to 1,500 employees in subsequent years. Amazon first began in Seattle in 1994, and since then, highly paid workers moving into the region to work at the company have driven up home and rental costs in the area. Homelessness rates have skyrocketed. Arlington is already one of the most expensive places to live in Northern Virginia, largely because of its proximity to Washington, and many residents fear that it could now go the way of Seattle. So, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, and activists that were pushing back against Amazon headquarters in New York City have been proven right. All of the losers that were on television screaming about this, like Donnie Deutsch on MSNBC, have been proven wrong.
When somebody like Amazon comes to your area, that attracts other tech giants. The opportunities lost there are extraordinary.
$27 billion. We put down 3. That's business. That's what happens. And you attach this to the Green Deal, and you are handing President Trump, the Democrats don't want companies coming to your neighborhoods. And if people in the party don't start to speak up against people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is young and dynamic, but does not know what she's talking about.
As usual, those guys are wrong again. How often now has the media been wrong about stuff? I mean, this is constant. So here's AOC's response to this. Well, just as we said, Amazon quietly came to New York City without needing a dime of public money or special tax treatment. The jobs came without the cost. New York City is an attractive place to locate on its own, including public infrastructure. without billions of dollars in corporate giveaway incentives. I mean, do you think there's going to be huge headlines now about, oh, AOC was right, or do you think Donnie George is going to come out on television on Morning Joe or his dumbass show on the weekends? Well, guys, it appears I was wrong the entire time. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was proven right. I was wrong once again, as I usually am about everything. Of course not. Nobody is going to apologize to anybody here. The activists, Bernie, AOC, about fighting them the entire time and now being proven completely wrong. Though there is one host, to give him credit, there is one MSNBC host that is giving AOC credit here. So he tweeted out, "No one should be surprised that Amazon is expanding in New York City without any gifts from local government, except all the economics wizards who said Amazon would never do that. AOC was right. Again." Yep. So at least there's one guy who has a television show saying this. But I really doubt that anybody who was criticizing AOC or Bernie or these activists at the time are going to come out and admit they were wrong.